Yeah. I was gonna go welcome, and I'm like, one, it's not my week.
Can I tell you something embarrassing before you tell me the pub thing? That this film
Yeah.
made me cry.
Which bit? No, okay.
Guess. Guess
Oh.
which bit. Guess which bit.
Was it an end thing? 'Cause I don't feel like it would be an end thing.
No, it wasn't.
It must have been a music thing.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No.
Oh. Like sad cry.
Yeah.
Or like happy cry. Oh.
No, like it made me go, oh. Like do it. Like not.
Oh, that
not,
means that makes me feel like a cute thing happened.
not full on tears, but like one or two. You know,
Like
like
do you know like when an I don't know how to describe when you see a cute thing, you're like, oh no, the cute thing got this thing.
You know, like when your eyes water and then you blink and then tears like sort of
Yeah.
like it was like one of those cries.
I'm trying to recall them. We're talking about the Mario movie, by the way. I don't know if you were saving that for a reveal.
Yeah, I was gonna say Miles Mario movie spoilers, but the part that made me cry was, you know, when like Luigi is being carried away and he looks back at the castle and then he has the like memory of him.
Yes,
And the kid storms the castle.
I'd say that's a major spoiler. The show up, because that's a big fan service.
Oh
thing.
yeah, but like very very briefly.
Yeah,
Like it's not a plot thing, I guess.
I might beep
but
that still.
Okay.
I might, because
You can do that.
yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
Anyway, go watch
But
the
that-
Mario movie. If
That
you-
made me cry.
yeah, no, I can see why though.
It proper got me.
What else has happened since we last recorded? Oh, Carrie got its hooks in me yesterday. Finally.
Did it?
Yeah, I am.
Very good.
It's right here. Hello. I am 80 pages in. It's like 243 odd pages. Finally. Oh, is this your X-Men?
Yeah, I just want to read you a little small part of it that I
Oh, we're
saw.
gonna do a reading.
I don't want this, Jean. Storm lifted her arms, calling forth a gale force wind. None of us does.
None of us does.
None of us does.
See, you're laughing, but our book comes Monday. The one that we've written, and
And it's gonna be not good.
I showed our friend. I almost said the name for a second there. Did you see my? you see my mouth
Saw
go?
the mouth shape.
Go for the consonant for a minute. I was showing them some of the mistakes, and we were just laughing. And I was like, "It's too late. The book has been ordered. It's so fun."
When we say mistakes as well, like how big are we talking?
Do you really want to get into this? Because I can. Oh, it's not ideal. Let me tell you that. Oh.
Doesn't even want to show you. Welcome to Doctor Who Rewind, an unofficial and unprofessional rewatch podcast where me and Tyrese watch and discuss episodes of Doctor Who start with a revival in 2005. Once we complete that, we'll backtrack to the 60s, talk about classic Who. In between seasons, we'll discuss extended media, things like books, games, and Big Finish audio adventures. It really throws me off that
this
says,
was the YouTube one, and
yeah,
not the.
where Tyrese and Katie. Like, that throws me off a bit.
Well, you should have. Well, normally you go where I, Katie, and my friend Tyrese, and I go, yeah. But we didn't do that this week.
No.
It's probably because I did such a terrible job last week. You were like, I'll take this. I'll just take this whole thing.
Idiot's Latin.
Idiot's Latin.
Ooh, let me readjust my mic.
Yeah, you do that.
Okay. How do you feel about it?
I love it. You don't.
No. No, I don't.
Like, oh no, I've got the pressing the space bar a lot. No, it's. Yeah, I don't. Okay. Love is a strong word.
Yeah.
I think as far as a standalone filler episode goes, this is great. It's not Girl in the Fireplace,
No.
but I still think it's good.
Yeah, that's fair.
You don't think that?
I don't like this episode. I think it's dull. I want it to be over whenever it's on.
I love that I have a note that just says "Shut up, Gran." Just when she's dum 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 dum.
When we
Like,
were
yeah,
watching,
okay.
when we were watching that, right? Luke was like, thank God she didn't knock 4 times," and then she started knocking again. And he was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
She's a little
I'm
Doctor
like,
Who.
oh, good for her. This one directed by Euros Lynn.
Yeah.
Series regular.
Yeah,
Written
who
by-
wrote it?
Matt Gatiss.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing: I don't like Matt Gatiss episodes
We loved The Unquiet Dead.
generally. Yeah, I know that's the only one I like.
I think you've said that before.
Queen Elizabeth II, self.
Archive footage uncredited.
That's so funny.
Prince Philip as well. Prince Philip, archive footage uncredited. Self.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't like many of the other Gatiss episodes.
But I want to see. Should we have a look at some of them? And then just
Some
be
of the
like,
other
Yeah,
ones.
just quickly be like, okay. Let's see
Because
how
I
this
know
works.
he did,
I did a bit of Good Omens. Oh, he's in Good Omens.
yeah.
I was like, oh, acting.
He did that one,
Right, yeah.
Matt Smith one that I hate very much as well.
Well, he's done a lot of Matt Smith ones.
Yeah.
Why is this here like this?
It's just be awkward.
It is like, and then he didn't come back till season 5. Victory of the Daleks.
I hate Victory of the Daleks.
Do you? Victory of the Daleks, I'm fine with most of the episode. I don't like the ending where it just becomes space pew pew.
Yeah,
Not a huge fan of that.
I don't like most of it.
Night Terrors, you don't like
I
Night
don't
Terrors.
like Night Terrors.
The Crimson Horror and Cold War.
Cold War is the episode that stopped me watching Doctor Who.
Oh,
I hated
God.
it so much that I had to take a couple of years away from this show, so there you go.
How about the Crimson Horror?
Yeah, and the Crimson Horror was the other one that I was thinking of,
I'm not
which
a huge
I also
fan of the
hate.
Crimson Horror.
I'll keep going, baby.
Robot of Sherwood. I
Fucking
didn't
hate it.
like the Robots of
Fucking
Sherwood.
hate it.
Yeah. Sleep No More.
Hate.
Oh my God, you hate Sleep No More.
Sleep No More is the only episode of Doctor Who that I have never seen.
We are watching it
All
for
the way
this.
through, I should
Okay.
add. Because there are the only times I've tried to watch it, I've been like, I don't like this.
Then Empress of Mars.
I don't like that either.
Which here's the thing about, I know that Ice Warriors are like legacy whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
See, my whole thing with Cold War is that I hated Rings of Akaten. I hated Bells of St. John. I was really going in shitty.
All of 7B.
And yeah. And I saw Ice Warriors and I was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay,
let's
yeah.
do this. Let's do this then. And then I watched Cold War and I was like, no, actually, I hate this.
I wonder if it's like a classic Who. I'm wondering if watching classic Who after we get through modern is gonna like change the way I view anything at all.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things I'm like, I enjoy this because it's always tonally, Idiot Lantern feels tonally right for the revival era at least. Where I'm like, this is what it is. But so you don't have many notes.
No, I really don't.
Roughly at what point? How many do you have? Not like don't have to count them all, but I mean, you said you were like, oh, I've got like 5 things.
Yeah, I don't. I have about like 10 or 15 or something.
Okay, that's
but
good enough.
you are gonna have to keep me like right plot wise.
Okay, so I'll just try and go through it beat by beat.
Right.
We get the cold open with Magpie, and it's a dark and stormy night, and
Yes.
the Wire shows up. What do you think of the Wire?
I don't really love the Wire as a concept. I'm like performance.
Oh, performance.
Yeah, like really good.
Amazing.
The
That's
only
Maureen Lipman,
thing-
and she is perfect as the Wire.
Right? Like the only thing from this episode that sticks with me at all is
Hungry.
yeah, and it's the way that
Yeah.
me and Luke tell each other that we really want food, actually, unironically.
Oh no, I think
Sometimes.
that the reason things like that happen is you need things for children to quote on the playground when they
Yeah.
pretend and act out episodes of Doctor Who. Either that or I Had No Friends. You've got exterminate and delete. Kids would walk around, like at least when I was in school, we would walk around pretending Doctor Who with our little sonic screwdriver toys and be saying things like
Doctor
that
Who wasn't cool at my school.
and running away from each other. Oh, there was 2 of us.
There was one of me.
And
no, actually, there was 2 of us.
And then when I got to secondary school, I kept it a secret because I was just so ashamed.
I had, you know what? I had
and I
more
was
friends
11.
who liked Doctor Who in secondary school
Oh, me
than I
too.
did in primary school.
And it was an episode of RE. That's not how school works. We were in an RE lesson, and they brought up genocide for some reason, and they showed us a clip of the Toclafane, and he was like, "Oh," our teacher was like, "Who watches Doctor Who?" And I was like, "Tyrese, you are not raising your hand." And then I saw 2 other people raise their hands, and I
And
was
you were
like,
like,
"Tyrese,
"Actually."
it's okay." And like my hand was up, okay? I was toll booth, baby. Lift my hand straight up into the air, and I'm short, so it was still difficult to see me in there. But that was when I was like, that's how I met. Never mind, we're no longer friends. It's fine. But you know from that who I mean.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I like The Wire.
Yeah, I think performance-wise, she is great. I think as a concept/villain, she is a means to a faceless creep factor.
The one thing about The Wire that I'm like, and maybe it's why this episode overall is like, for me, is I'm like, what's the plan? Like, she wants a body, right? Like, that's what she
That's the
says
whole-
at one point, is that
Once she consumes enough faces, she will be corporeal and then take over the world.
But, like, to do what? Why?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And that's the one thing that I don't get, is because I feel like there is no sort of, like, specific evil plan. I feel like there is no stakes.
Well, I feel. Do you not think that we get that a lot with gas episodes in general? You get a lot of. I mean, what was the Gelth's plan really? The rift.
Well, see, I mean, I understand the Gelth's plan more because at least they say, like, their planet is dead. They have nowhere
They're
to
going
go.
to take this one
They,
over.
they want this one.
I feel like that's a very common thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, like,
I mean, her planet cast her out.
Yeah, that can be her plan. But the thing that I sort of, like, fucks with me a bit is that I'm like, you can be evil TV lady, you can want to do evil TV things, but, like, play into it more.
Yeah, yeah.
Have her be like Mojo, and then I would be like, that's cool, kind of.
I love the like the at least the aesthetic of it all. The voice, the very proper. I think it's creepy. I do think that she has a creep factor to her. That
it's
that
not a transatlantic accent, but it's like the English equivalent, right?
Yeah, yeah. Of like
the broadcast voice.
Everything is propriety and like
yeah,
you know, and I think there is something very creepy about that when you hear it and you hear that old staticky old TV.
Oh yeah,
speaker
I mean
sound
everything
come through
about
with
it is kind of freaky. Like to this day, I'm like I can't hear TV static for more than 2 minutes without being like, ugh.
Yeah, fit check.
Oh, listen, right?
I've told you about the thing that I said that made my ex-girlfriend go, "That's disgusting."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Leave me alone."
No, listen.
Both of them look really good in this episode. To be fair,
they do,
and they don't do much to the Doctor. They're just like
they just do the hair, right?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, no, Rose looks so good.
And do you know what I think is?
I want her to dress like period more.
I mean, Unquiet Dead as well. Maybe it's just a Gaddis thing where he's like, let's dress her up.
Because I really like companions in period dress.
Bill does it too.
Bill does it as well, yeah.
Clara does it in Crimson Horror. It's always Gaddis episodes.
The thing about Clara is I don't give a shit about what she's wearing.
Okay.
I hate the woman inside the clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think this is a good look for both of them. I like the addition of the moped.
The Vespa. Little Vespa thing. Yeah. When he's like, you can keep that. Maybe put it somewhere for a few years though, because you know, I don't like in this episode.
What?
Every single Dutch angle.
It's all Dutch angles, right? Like every single
who did
shot
this? Kenneth
is
Branagh?
a Dutch angle.
That's a really, really weird sense. Who did this? Kenneth Branagh. But we've all seen Thor.
Exactly.
And we know that. Oh, it's
yeah,
fine.
like the thing is, I didn't ever notice it until this watch either. Like, not that there were Dutch angles, but how many of them there were.
Oh, almost every inside the house shot. And then I watched The Confidential for this one, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Was it intentional, I assume?
They don't say anything about the Dutch angles.
Oh, because
but I
that
know
many...
The house is a house set, so they can get every angle. So there's not like we are squashed in, we have to go Dutch to get this. They just did it for, I don't know. Because Euros Lynn doesn't normally do that.
But, like, that's my thing. Like, one or two... you know, or however many you would want as sort of like, I guess, an average number. That's fine. You don't need to explain it. But when there is this many, I feel like I want a reasoning why you chose every single shot to be a Dutch angle, and for why.
And for why. Rose has some weird deliveries in this episode. Did you notice? Thank you.
I say that.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, there you go.
I know you do.
That's where from.
You think I haven't picked up like a million idiosyncrasies from Doctor Who and I spot them in your vocabulary as well, like on an almost daily basis. Whenever we speak, you say a thing and I don't outwardly do it, but I'm thinking, that's a Doctor Who thing. And like, I'm like, does it make me more of a virgin to point it out?
See, I'm like, this show is so tattooed on my brain. That,
yeah, me too. Not the classic stuff, but this at least.
Because this is a thing as well that I'm doing now where I'm watching it and I'm going, oh, I do that.
Like, I mean, there is that, like, you know, I don't say it, but in my head sometimes my brain just does the David Tennant, wow. You know, the creaky well. Sometimes my brain just does it, and I don't know why. Like, I'll just be at the shop and my brain will just go, wow. And
I'm sure I have told you before when I was going to Amsterdam. And it was the first time I'd been like abroad in a while, and they had these like essentially like a self passport scan.
Oh yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
And I remember absolutely losing my mind about it. I was talking to the person who I went with, who had never been like abroad and had nothing to compare it to, and I went full David Tennant. I went full excited like 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
And then I took a moment and I went, oh god, I've just said the word like brilliant too many times.
It's
I've weird.
I've been there. Preaching to the choir. I've been there. I have a few notes that I just don't think are too worth mentioning. Like, £5 TVs, that's a bargain.
Oh yeah, do you know what? I looked at that.
The conversion rates and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's give or take like 178 quid.
That's
like now, obviously.
I mean, the TV that's in my room was like I think it was 400. Bought it with someone. I'm not just fucking rolling in it.
It's weird.
Wish I was rolling in it.
But yeah, it's weird to think that, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you can buy a TV now for less than that.
Oh, easily.
Like, imagine going up to Magpie back in the day, and you're like, oh god, these TVs are a bit expensive, and he's like, they're £5, and I'm like, yeah, well.
I'm just gonna say it. Magpie's got some mommy issues going on, right? I'm like, come on, dude, come on, you don't have to do this. You just smash the screen, she's dead.
I read that at one point, apparently he was supposed to be a lot more of a villain.
A baddie.
And
yeah, was it Russell that was like, no.
Tone it down? Yeah.
There was some stuff in the confidential about that, because I was watching this, I mean, we'll get to it later. Oh, another one of those, sorry, because we will get to it later, but for now I'll just carry on. 1, Eddie can die, and 2, when Rose and the doctor open the door, it's, hi!
Yeah, right?
And she does the big grin, and he's like, ee.
But
and then within 5 minutes, he's like shouting at him.
There is another great, like, little Rose moment later as well, when when she's leaving the house as well.
When she ducks out like a gremlin.
Yeah, when she's like, shame on you, and then she like is like,
and
then she does like a big grin, and then she's like, like, leaves,
and then she like
leaves a Rose Tyler shaped like dust cloud
just through the wall. God, the only thing she's missing was a meep meep, and that was it.
Just, right?
I think Jamie Foreman, who plays Eddie, great actor.
Yes.
He's very good at making this dude just hateable.
But immediately, right? Like, immediately you do not like this man.
He's got this scowl. I don't know how he does it. Because look at him smiling on IMDb.
Yeah,
it's not so bad.
That just looks like a friendly gentleman.
I'm like, I'll have a conversation with this man.
Yeah.
Put that scowl on him and his pencil mustache. No, we're not doing this.
But it's like, yeah, like, from the immediate introduction, I'm like, oh, you suck.
Yeah, I hate you.
Yeah.
I also had this realization that I was like, Tommy, you coward. Oh my god, I'm Tommy. Like the slightest confrontation, and I'm like, nope.
No, thank you.
Because it just freaks me out. But I love that Eddie is like a massive glass cannon. He's like big and stocky. And as soon as the doctor is like, oh, do you think the Queen does all of her own things? And he's like, well, of course not. And like immediately he's like a wimp.
Right.
I have and I'm gonna bring it up now. I have a note about it later on as well. But it's fine and relevant here. I have like a genuine worry. We're not gonna do it. I have a genuine worry that someone might actually watch this. Statistically, someone will watch this episode, look at Eddie and be like, well, that's and like that. I have a note that actually that freaks me out. Genuinely worried that people thinks that he might be good, and I'm like, no,
yeah,
absolutely not.
And I'm sure we will talk about this at the end of the episode. Weird ending with that whole storyline.
Well,
right?
It's a very old-fashioned thing. I think it's a very naughty's view that is. I think that the view that I think we're talking about the end part, which we'll get to. I think there's a very new modernist approach about that whole situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Whichever side of your fence that's on, like I have had to explain it to some family members, like that's just not how it works anymore, and you will have to be way more careful.
Right.
Like the family card, I assume is what we're talking about there. But he is family. That doesn't stand as well anymore, mate.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
sorry.
If someone sucks.
They suck.
They suck. It doesn't matter if you're related to them. That
just means you're related to someone who sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's because you are related to a person, or because you have any kind of relationship with a person, you are not, like, you have no responsibility to continue a relationship with them, to try and redeem them. If you have decided in your brain, I don't want a relationship with this person, that is entirely within your own boundaries as a thing to do.
But what if the family?
Right, like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's the entire defense.
Well, like I said, we'll get there.
Yeah.
However, let's talk about.
That's a Dr. Pepper right there. That little
oh,
snapping sound.
that?
I hate these lids. I don't want to get into it. But what's the point? What is the point in these? I'm attached to recycle lids.
Was
oh
I
my
saying
god!
This to you or Luke the other day? I don't remember. But because we got a bottle that didn't have one on, and it just had like a note on the top, and it was like, "Please recycle me." And I'm like, how many people finish a drink and then don't put the lid on the bottle?
Like who's
like,
throwing them away separately, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell? What's the point?
It makes more
Jesus
sense.
Christ, Coca-Cola. Yeah, Mum went out with the sailor. I bet she did.
Yeah.
Come on, Jackie.
Listen, you know she did.
I mean, who hasn't she? I want a big finish series of Jackie's sexual conquest. No,
like 50 first dates or something.
Oh my
but
god,
it's
imagine.
There's probably, you know what?
Stitch this mate to everyone.
There's probably a really good way to do that episode actually and make it be kind of entertaining. Big Finish, I'll volunteer to write
They did
Jackie Tyler
They did that
50
one
First Date series.
with Clara and Danny Pink, where their first date lasts the whole episode, but she's having adventures between it. And you know, when that shot where we talked about before, where
the
she
only
walks
Clara
in,
thing that
and
I
I'm
like.
like, that's so good.
And
she's really torn between those two lives. I like that little dichotomy bit. Anyway, that's a future thing.
Anyway, you know what? It's really funny to me how I'm talking about anything other than the Idiot's Lantern. Let's talk about
because you don't like the episode.
The disappearing of it all.
Of people.
Yes.
2 disappearing people episodes this season, right? We fear her later on.
Oh yeah.
I think there is a very just as a general Doctor. This is just general Doctor Who stuff. I'm fine with that for this episode because it's a filler episode, anyways.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this beforehand, where I was like, I didn't realize how much I think that this season has some really good one-offs at the beginning. I mean, you don't Tooth and Claw doesn't do much for you.
No, I enjoy it. It's just out of...
It is entertaining. You're like, big werewolf, scary monsters, fun.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a fun episode, but in my brain, it's not a serious
I love the standalones.
Yeah.
You know.
It's still up there for me.
Oh, but then you've got that and School Reunion, Girl in the Fireplace, all really solid. I think the last 2 episodes, whilst are not...
Even New Earth as well. I know that you're not as much of a fan of it as me, but I do love that one too.
Yeah. I'm not as big a fan of Age of Steel and Rise of the Cybermen. They still just sort of happen to me. They are still entertaining. I think that the rest of this season, barring the next 2 two-parters, all right, just kind of happen.
Yeah.
Including, as much as I love this episode, I am like, this is a fine thing. But, you know, nothing feels super high stakes from this point on.
My thing is that when I was looking at this episode's like trivia and stuff, I found a lot of stuff that was cut from the episode.
Yes.
And I am interested in all, and I'm not saying like interested in terms of like I would like to have seen it. Not that I think it would have been better. But one thing that really does like get me about this, and I understand why you have to be in the house watching the TV for this episode to take place, but I think the much more interesting setting for all of this would have been like the street party, like at the end of the episode, like.
Or if it was taking their faces.
Yeah, like have some other kind of way of doing it.
Well, it's like there is nowhere you are safe.
Yeah, have it be like once she's connected to the broadcast tower, she doesn't need a TV anymore. She's become that powerful. Have it be through anything else, because I feel like seeing a bunch of people sat watching a TV getting their faces sucked. Like it's not even really like a scary concept to me, because I'm like, what if someone turned off the TV?
You could no danger. There is. So I think one of my enjoyment-y parts of this episode is I think that the investigation bit is good. I'm like, I enjoy the investigation part of it. So you know that's completely fine for me. I think it's insane when the Doctor, you know, because the Doctor and Rose sort of get split up at this point.
They do, yeah.
She goes to Magpie. He goes to the place.
Yeah, what is that supposed to be, by the way?
It's the place.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
It's just the place.
Because I'm like, it's not a police station.
It's after the Doctor says,
it's just,
I'm not listening, gah.
Yeah, right.
Gah.
He eats that G.
Does he?
Oh,
you know he does. You know he does. Gooch. No. No.
I love it when you say a thing and then you immediately backpedal it. I love it.
It's because it's almost like, it's not an intrusive thought because I know what that is, but it's like my brain goes, this is fine, and then I hear it out loud and I go, no.
Yeah, like fine in my head, not fine outside.
What was the other one I said that was in an episode of this?
Talking about grabbing cheeks.
Yeah, and that was in Girl in the Fireplace. Fine. It's okay. Yeah, he goes to this place. It is insane to me that the sonic screwdriver has settings that reattach barbed wire, cut rope. Doesn't have a torch setting, even though it has a light. The Doctor carries a separate torch. What? Look, right, here's the thing. What is the point? It's got a light on it. Even if you just bzzed in your way through there, who gives a toss?
I was gonna say, I know that my sonic screwdriver, like, while lighting is not its function.
One of our friends was cleaning their room the other day.
Yeah.
You know who it was.
Yeah.
And we were at the pub yesterday, and he was like, oh, I found multiple sonic screwdrivers, some that I have that are duplicates, and I was like, don't be a cocktease about it. Give me
Yes,
one. Like,
share
like
them.
I was like, well, I didn't say that, but in my head I'm like, kind of want one. And he was like, which one is your favorite? And I was like, as a child I had the 11th, the ping, and it went up and it was green, and green was my favorite color, still is. I'm like, oh hell yeah. And he was like, I've got multiple of those, and I was like,
Share them.
do you know when I'm
Share
sort of
them with
sitting
the
there
class.
going, I don't want to be like a 6-year-old and ask for it, so please be an adult and offer me one. Which I know I'm 23. But you can't find those anymore. It's really difficult. That's
right.
That is like my ideal gift. If someone can find one of those and it's not like £80,000, I'll
I
take
always-
it. I'm not paying for a rubber toe. Otherwise, I would.
Right.
Trust me, I
Yeah,
would
if I had the money for a rubber toe, you
everything.
bet. I wanted Sarah Jane Sonic lipstick.
Oh,
But I remember even at the time that was difficult.
Oh yeah,
to
those were
find.
hard to. I mean, because it was a spin-off anyway. I don't think
Yeah.
they were like.
Same with the
producing too
laser
many.
screwdriver as well. I didn't.
Sorry.
The sound it makes is so horrible.
Right. I mean, I think I had one. No, I didn't. I got the squirty water one from Doctor Who mag once. That's what I'm remembering. Oh God, Doctor Who magazine. You gave me a scarecrow mask once, and also the silence fingers. Did you see those? So it was like
No, but I can imagine.
and you'd be like, and we would do this because we were 11.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Class.
Yeah, there's no torch setting, but all of these people are faceless. And I don't understand. I get why they are faceless. I think I'm just like, that there has to be a physical repercussion for what is happening. There has to be a physical thing going on.
Luke was losing his mind the whole time because he was like, God, these people must be so hungry.
I've put that. I'm like, do they just starve?
Their brains have been wiped, right? That's what they say, which I assume like means that,
Mindless.
no thought.
Head
Yeah,
empty.
like no sort of conscious. Just like enough to move. Right? To have
just
like,
one of them. Just one of these little clutches.
But that would I think it would have. I don't know.
One of them's just like.
I'm trying to find anything in. I really
Yeah.
am trying to find anything in this that makes me like it. But I'm sorry.
You don't even like the Blues Brothers when the doctor's like, I know that you can't wrap your hand around your elbow and make your fingers meet, and one of them tries.
No, does he?
Yeah,
I didn't notice
I'm
that.
gonna
I
pull
didn't
that up
notice.
immediately.
That's so
Yeah, he
good.
tries to look at his little face. Look, he's like, can't do it.
What if though?
Are you trying it? Is this you trying it?
David Tennant saying I'm fat.
What? He's saying everyone's fat. Oh God. Yeah. This is this episode. It's kind of flying by actually. I'm like, this is the most of what happens. Is the doctor goes here, the Rose goes, Rose goes there, and Magpie is like Magpie. What do you think about Magpie? One for sorrow. Oh.
Listen, if he had anything else going for him, then cool. But I don't think that he does anything. I think he's incredibly pathetic. But the thing is, I am fine with having a character be incredibly pathetic and being like, oh, I'm being controlled. Oh, but like, it just goes nowhere. I just hate him.
Yeah, I'm like, I do kind of feel bad for him.
Oh,
I
like,
think
yeah, this is
think
lame.
that Ron Cook, the guy who is Magpie, I think he plays like scared really well. Like you can tell that he is afraid of the wire. He's like, oh,
I
don't
think
wanna
that one
be
of
around
the
this.
things that this episode is missing, and timing and shit, getting this in like 45 minutes or whatever, that's fair if it's not gonna be in there. But I feel like have it be that Magpie is like failing, like the store is awful, this guy's getting foreclosed on, he's
Yeah.
going out of business, and then the wire comes to him
and it's a saving.
and it's a saving grace.
There is something in it for him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we are. The episode is 47 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was with cuts. But I think from the confidential, some of the things that were cut, I think would have made it more interesting than some of the stuff that is in here.
That's what I was seeing when I read something about an extended
Yeah.
chase scene on the London Underground.
Oh yeah, I'd seen something about that, but then it had to be cut because.
Yeah.
But this one scene here is a little Zodiac-y to me, not in
yeah.
in like the way that it's shot and the music and all this stuff, Dutch angle. So I'm like this. I think it's just very much a my taste thing. I love something that is periodish like this, but I like the crime noir of it all. Whereas I don't think modern crime is that there's so much technology that modern crime is so.
Oh, yeah,
5 minutes,
right.
it's ruined.
Well,
Who
that's
cares?
like the worst part of every Scream movie is the detective part, right?
Yeah. Let me just watch Ghostface kill a bunch of people.
Yeah,
Right?
like I like it when all of the kids are being like, "Oh, who could it be? I don't trust you. I don't trust you." I don't like it when the police come in and then they're actually like trying to solve the case.
I just want to say, because we have this scene open right now where Detective Inspector is with David Tennant, and he's giving him the whole spiel of what's going on. One, look at those smashed windows.
Yeah, I
right?
can't not look at them actually.
Can you not? Well, just notice what time it is, because in 4 seconds it's going to be daytime. It's going to be really bright outside.
That's another thing.
Because they just walk outside and it's
that's
sunny
another
as
thing I
hell.
have with this episode is that it feels like there is no clear time on any of this.
It's almost like there's the Age of Steel thing where it happens over one night and you can really tell.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, a night lasts 5 minutes.
I mean, my thing with it is that there is no reason for this episode to transition into night at all.
There is though, isn't there? Is the coronation is on the morning, and if you do it the day of, the afternoon it's not going to be on. So you kind of have to do the in-between bit and be in the night. There's no way to do it otherwise, unless the Doctor and Rose are kipping and then wake up in the middle of the night and they're like, I've got it! By Jove.
Because I'm like, would any of the... I don't know. I hate it. I'm sorry. I can't be more eloquent in this episode.
Do you know what I'd find confusing? And it's just because... And I know what it is. I'm just not a royalist, so I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
I'm just like, as a personal thing, I'm like, there was a street party here was it last year?
Yes.
The Jubilee.
The Platty Jubes.
I fucking hate you so much. Why did I start this with you? It was like that street there where it goes in. There was like a little street party there, and I just thought, go back inside.
Yeah, our street didn't do anything.
I've seen your street.
As you can imagine. Our street did no.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect much from...
Which is weird, because the street around the corner did.
That is weird.
It was weird. I was going to work and like nothing had happened on our street at all, and I was on my way to work, and then there was like bunting everywhere, and I was like, what the fuck? And
Here's
then I
why
was
I think that's
shit,
weird.
The Queen.
Because that's... You're talking about like the street down going straight up or like across?
You know where the corner shop is?
That street in front of the corner shop, basically.
The one just after.
But I'm like, did it go for like... Because there's intersections, does it?
It just went for like one section.
Okay, fine. I was going to say, because that's insane. I think a street party would be fun, just not for this. I'm like, street party sounds class. I just don't want it to be for a royal reason.
Cool, but the thing is, I don't live on a street with all my mates.
Yeah.
And I don't like, I mean, maybe it's just a me thing, because I know some people are very close with their neighbours, but I'm like, when
we're not.
When I was at home, I wasn't close with any of my neighbours, really.
When I had a house, I wasn't close to my neighbour, like, at all. Did a pigeon race every now and then he did. That was weird. That was like, I didn't realise he had domesticated pigeons, and then one day I used to work from a little in-house office, and out of the window there would just be like 11 black cars, and I mean like they all looked like out of Transformers.
You're like, is this drug dealing? It's like, no, it's just pigeon racing.
No, I was like, oh, I'm being investigated for something. All I do is I just write dumb story and do work every now and then. I have a shift, but they would all pull up outside the house in the middle of summer in the blazing heat, and they would just look up. And because of the way my room was situated, I couldn't see what they were looking up at for a while. And not until like a few visits in, and I was like, oh, pigeon. They're pigeon racing around like the estate, I guess. And I was just confused. I was like, leave. And they would park on our front as well. And I was like, leave. I don't have a car. I don't drive. But I'm like, get out. Go away.
I'm going to say the name, so you have to cut this part.
Oh.
But like, no, I'm not. But our neighbour, I don't know, because we actually live next door to her currently. You know what? Never mind. It's cut.
What do you think of when Rose does the Sinead O'Connor?
What?
You not seen the? I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong in this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my other thing that I have, where I'm just like, the Wires plan doesn't make sense.
Where are you putting these faces?
Yeah, you have all these faces, and they are on the and like the visual is cool of like all of the sort of like faces of the people, like, you know, in TV and stuff. And Tommy's there, and he's like, "Oh, it's my gran," and you know, Rose is there, but why?
I want to check a script thing, because I want to know if I read this right. What does this mean? Ooh, this one's smart as paint. What?
I've caught a fresh paint. You're like, oh, that looks smart. There.
Is that actually... I've never heard it.
No, I mean, it's not... I don't think it's like a common thing that
Yoo-hoo.
I have ever heard be said.
Neither is yoo-hoo, but...
It's the 50s.
Yoo-hoo. I think that must be me.
Yeah. The Wire's class, actually.
You changed your mind?
No, I always like that's it. I like The Wire. I just think everything
I'm
about
the
the plan
Wire,
is dumb.
and I will gobble you up, pretty boy.
Like, the lines are good. The delivery is good.
Oh yeah, she is amazing. I'm just like, yeah, performance-wise,
yeah.
the one thing that I don't think I would change about like the villain in this at all is I don't think you could cast anyone else as the Wire at all. And I don't think it would work.
Agreed.
I'm like, okay, fair enough. God, we're already at like the finale. So the Doctor's plan is to basically be
he's gonna do a Logopolis.
A what?
It's classic Who thing.
Oh, he's just gonna go, oh no, and he's gonna make a sexy little box. I don't know why it's sexy, but it is. He's gonna make a sexy little box, and he's gonna take Tommy. Well, no, before this, we have Tommy's little standy up for himself.
Yeah, he tells his dad to get fucked.
Oh, paraphrasing. I enjoy that scene. I think it's really good.
I think it is very
when
good.
He's just put in his
Which
place.
is why the end bothers me.
Don't go back to him.
Because this part is so good. When he's like, what does he say? When he's something like, oh, you fought against fascists or whatever.
Yeah,
and
but
he's like
you are paving the way for people like me to be able to do what they want, and now you are taking that away from me. Like, you've become the thing that you were fighting against.
Yeah.
And he's just like, not got a leg to stand on
there's
all,
there's
Eddie.
like a gay little subtext with this
There is.
as well.
And I looked that up.
Because
Tommy was supposed to be... there was going to be a plot about him having a crush on the Doctor.
Yeah. And I know that there's like the line earlier where was it like what the family member is like, oh, you know what they say about like mummies boys or whatever.
You have to beat it out of him.
Yeah, and then he has a line later where he's like, oh, for people like me to love who we want to love, right?
Yes.
And I'm like,
you just say that, and I'm like, that is very...
Yeah, and it's one of them things where I'm like, this is a subtext that is so very, very easily overlooked.
And no, I mean, the whole thing, isn't it, is like, well, no one is like suppressing straight couples in the 50s. That's not really what's happening.
Yeah.
So, but no, there was meant to be a little side
my
plot about him
thing
being
is,
gay.
and I'm like, you know, obviously it would make this episode a lot more interesting to me. Just have him say something to the Doctor. Have him do something like that, and then at least I can be like, this here is for a purpose. But the way that I feel about that one line is that it feels like something that was part of that just forgot to get cut.
If you're just like,
yeah, like that part of the
licks his
script's
lips.
already written, and we can leave that in there. But have him, you know,
yeah,
make him gayer.
just go for it, man.
Make him more explicitly gay.
Just do it. Give this line give this "I will gobble you up" line from The Wire to Tommy
to the Doctor.
To the Doctor,
looking deep into his eyes.
yeah, just,
you know,
I will gobble you up.
I'll tell you what I do like though in this climax part where you know, when like the Doctor whips out the sonic paper and he says something like,
The sonic paper.
Fuck the psychic paper.
And he's the king of like
yeah,
Belgium
he's
or
like the
something.
king of Belgium apparently. And then when he runs and he starts climbing the TV tower, the guy on the floor goes, "Your Majesty!" Like
Yeah.
as he's going. I like that.
Did you notice the torchwood?
I did notice the torchwood.
I didn't. I looked it up. I couldn't. I was like, oh, this is like apparently it's very quiet.
It is because it's
I
that
didn't hear
part
it
when
all.
the Doctor's like zoning out, and you hear Detective Inspector Bishop talking to the other guy.
Yeah.
Because he says something about they're talking about Rose, and it's a part that I actually do quite like when the Doctor's doing that. You know, like I'm sure there's a name for it, but when we're just like looking at a character and there is just like very, very muted sound because it's being like, oh, this person's zoning this thing out.
It's like,
Yeah, and you hear one of the guys be like, oh, I left her in the street, and the Doctor's like, they left her where? And it's like, oh,
it clicks back in.
yeah, and it's like, I like that part.
I mean, I assume you would like that whole scene where it's like, there is nothing on this earth that is
Yeah.
going to stop me now. It's look, and we also get an angry Doctor earlier in the episode.
Yeah, and I do like the angry Doctor here, but my thing again that makes this kind of lose some steam retrospectively for me is that the Wire's plan.
Doesn't make sense.
No, and it's just
Yeah.
undone so easily that it feels like the Doctor gets very, very and I know it's about Rose,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like this is disproportionate rage.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, well, now it's personal.
Yeah, and I'm like, but you were always going to stop it.
Yeah, but now he has to do it today. This ends tonight. This ends tonight, Lumik.
But yeah, that's that.
He tells oh no, I would tell the portable wire to shut up. Oh my, if she's like, I'm hungry in the car. Oh my god, be quiet. Yeah, we're getting you. We're on our way to get you food. Shut up.
She'd love TikTok. The wire would be absolutely on it modern day.
Why? I don't get it.
Just because you just scroll and you just look.
Oh. Oh my god, she just steal faces from TikTok.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
bring the wire back and do a, modern day TikTok
That one would be scary.
That one would be.
That would be like Stephen King's The Cell, which I haven't read or seen, but I'm like, basically you look at a phone screen or put a phone to your ear and you become a zombie, which was the whole social commentary on phones are taking over, man. Which, by the way, yes they are, but that's because the people who use phones are fallible. That's not me being like I'm better than, because I'm also really bad for just.
I'm the worst for it.
I'm close to deleting stuff again.
Oh, I'm terrible with it, and I'm terrible with it
because I get them sent to me
every second.
Because I get
so many.
I haven't had any in a while. I haven't spent a lot of time. A day and a half. I spent so much time. I'm like, not recently though.
No, I've been playing video games again.
Yeah, I'm not. I really want to. I'm so annoyed at myself because I'm like, you should play some more games. You keep buying them. And and Tears of the Kingdom.
Do you know what kills me? I think it's so funny.
And
I only noticed it this time, but when everyone's like in and then the wire gets connected and starts like broadcasting, for lack of a better word, right?
Yeah, and
she takes the dog. When it's stuck in everyone's faces.
She does,
what are you going to do with that?
I think Rose looks hilarious when her face gets sucked for a solid few seconds there when she's still like, magpie, you can see her mouth moving, but it's long.
I would love to have seen what that dog would have looked like.
Do you reckon it goes flat, or do you reckon it stays like with the shape, but it just goes smooth?
I think it just goes smooth.
You think it just goes smooth?
But I'm like, that's so funny. Why do you need to take the dog?
Hungry?
Hungry. Yeah, so that's that. Also,
no, it's not. This is how the fourth Doctor died, and there wasn't a line about it. And I was like watching the episode. It's one of the few things I know about Classic Who, and I was like,
yeah, the Logopolis of it all.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Logopolis.
But and apparently there was a line.
Yeah,
they were in the confidential that there was Mark Gatiss had written a line for Tennant to be like, I don't do so well on phone towers or whatever, and it got cut. And I was like, of all the lines to keep in, I feel like that is
not the one
to
that
keep.
You don't need to get rid of this.
That's the good one.
But there is a part, here's the thing in this finale, right? Where the Doctor climbs the tower. Magpie is already like up the tower.
Yes.
And the wire's going out. And then the Doctor's like, you overextended yourself going for Magpie just then or something? And then he can do it?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
She uses lots of power because she doesn't... the way that I rationalise that in my head is because she doesn't take Magpie's face, she turns him into dust. And I'm like, yeah, that would take a lot, so fair enough, I will allow it. But then it did kind of make me go, okay, so what is it? Is it the Tommy changing the bulb that helped, or is it her killing Magpie?
Exactly.
Or was it both? Was it you are now the odds are double stacked against
if
you?
If you look at this planet on paper, it's stupid and it makes no sense, and that's.
Doctor Who fire is what that is, actually. I think you'll find.
I don't need every single plan to be the most well thought out,
but this one you do.
Perfectly thingy. But this one just doesn't feel coherent to me. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to achieve.
I love this sound you can make when you just keep going like you're so defeated. This episode really, it bores you.
Yeah, like
I don't have much to say, but I still do think that it's quite solid. I still do think that I'm like, this does keep me at least entertained. But I think it's a very preference thing where I'm like, I can take the period drama sort of thing and the crime aspect and the investigation bit that I think really steers my way. Whereas I'm just like, for you, it just might not be.
I mean, the thing is, I guess this is close history now, like the 50s, right? Like this is.
Yeah, it's not that long.
I enjoy that. I do. I think it would have been very good. I also enjoy the detective things. However,
the villain's bad, and so you have a bad villain, you have a bad everything.
My thing is, on paper, I should really like this episode, and then I don't, and I'm like, maybe it would have been different if it had been higher stakes.
Well, I think it sort of boils down to the phrase "a band is only as good as their drummer."
Yeah,
and it's like, well, if the beats in the narrative aren't solid, then the episode falls apart. I think that's kind of what is happening here.
Yeah,
at least for you, I still enjoy it. Like this is one of the episodes, and I'm not this person. I'm not very like turn your brain off fun. I think that outlook is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
My older brother said it about Marvel movies recently. He's like, well, you can just switch your brain off, and I was like, no, because I remember watching like early Iron Man, and it had stakes. You know what kind of man it takes to go to like whatever war-torn country it was and just kill a bunch of people just because he knows that they are doing bad things. Like, he then has to go home and sleep. That is a stake. That is like a traumatic thing to do in a new suit that you've made. I know you don't like Iron Man, and I know you're holding that in, but like, when he's like, yeah, but when you watch Ant-Man, turn your brain off. And I'm like, no, if I have to turn my brain off for one of them, I have to do it for all of them now. And I don't want to do that. I used to care about these. And there are episodes of Doctor Who where I can turn my brain off and be like, this is dumb and it's fun. Tooth and Claw is one of them. There's not very many stakes there. It introduces Torchwood, I guess, but this is one.
I think that one of the issues that I am having with this is that, especially with rewatching them for this purpose to speak about them and stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that I've been finding that I haven't noticed before, the stuff that I'm thinking on harder, the stuff that I'm like, I feel like in the least like cheesy way to see it, it feels like watching the show again for the first time.
Yeah.
However, this is the only episode that I didn't get anything new from. I got more problems with.
Okay.
If anything, I liked this episode more before I saw it earlier today.
See, that's somewhat how I feel about like the long game, where this for me I enjoy, but what you are describing is like a long game case where when I watched that out, even for this, I was just like, none of this is really doing much for me.
But
this one does. This one, I'm like, it scratches an itch. It's not like a necessarily difficult one to scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if the highlights of this episode are Rose and the Doctor, then that's a sign that this show isn't doing much for me at this point.
I still think that the other characters are likable.
Oh, no, that's the thing. I'm like, everyone in this episode gives a good performance. Yeah. I just do not particularly care about them.
No, that's fine. I get that. I just differ from that, I guess, like in terms of opinion. But for this one, these last sort of, because I went through this with you, that's why I feel like the rest of this season just kind of happens really fast, where it's like there's two more two-parters, one of which is the finale, and then two more standalones. This versus the other two standalones, I would probably take this one over those other two. Yeah. Because I do think that this one is like way more... No, okay, I will say Love and Monsters is a Jackie episode, so I'm fine with it. But I still think that, you know, taking Jackie over the Doctor and Rose having an adventure, I will take the Doctor and Rose having an adventure. Yeah. Even though I do love Jackie. So for the rest of this season, I'm like, I know that the next two-parter, I love it.
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
I think that I think there's a lot of budget in this next episode. I think a lot of the money went into this, and they knew, because the look of the next time trailer and the dinginess of the ship, everything. I'm like, they put mad money into this next one.
Right. So
we're not at the end yet.
No, we're not. But let's talk about
why the Doctor was just told Tommy he was an alien like that. Did you hear him? He's like, oh, it's an alien. Yeah. That's me, by the way. And I'm like, what? Why? Okay, what did it?
There is no reason for it, but I'm like...
What is Tommy going to do with this information? Later on, he's like, oh, and by the way, the Doctor was an alien, and I had a crush on him. Everyone lived except Magpie.
Yes.
Magpie's the only death in this episode. Have you been keeping the death counters still, by the way?
I have, yes, but we're going to go for it in the
Confidential
finale,
no, I assumed, but I just hadn't heard anything about it in a while, and I was like, the Cybermen. I was like, did you keep the death count through that?
There is one that I missed that I'm going to have to go back.
Well, if you know it was one that you missed. Oh, you mean an episode?
Yeah. There is an episode that I hadn't realised that I should have been keeping one, and then I was like, oh god, and then after that I was like, you know what, because I didn't say anything about it at the time, so I was like, at this point, we'll just go through, we'll just wait for it there.
That's fine. So the ending, Street Party.
Yeah.
The epilogue bit where she is like, this house is not in your name. Get out. And gives him the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then he leaves. He walks away, and then Tommy's all, good riddance, like, you know, as it should be.
There is something to, like, his performance that he gives, like, an unsurety to the thing where he's like, good riddance. But I think there's a bit of Tommy in this scene that wants to go to his dad, but needs someone to tell him that, because he's like, yeah, good riddance, and he's, like, nodding over as if to be like, a bit like almost like he's too prideful to go and do it himself without someone being like, this is the right thing to do, you need to go and do it. By the way, it's not the right thing to do.
No.
Not at all. Cut that man out of your life.
I'm
Never
like,
speak to him again.
I understand that Rose's daddy issues have something going on.
Yeah.
And my rational brain wants to be like, that's why she tells him to go to his abusive father. However...
But I know that he is an abusive father, and I don't want that for anyone.
And I can't... And the thing is, it's like, you know, it's not just Tommy, it's Rita as well. Like, they are better off without this man in their lives. And that's fine.
Well, Rita says it, doesn't she, when she goes back in the house?
Yeah, she's like,
what's all that
Sam's
about? Sam's something ending, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tommy go to him, but he's still your dad. I'm like,
Yeah, and I'm like, yes, he is still your dad. However, that does not, like, negate the fact that he's an asshole.
Yeah, I had a conversation like that with a family member last year where I was like, just so you know, that is not how it works anymore.
Yeah.
And I had to go through, like, you are family. You are, you can still...
Yeah, you will always be, like, blood related.
Like, that will still have... you're not just exempt from being an arsehole about it. That's not how it works anymore. There's no longer this... Yeah, but he's... you know, I'm not going to go into it for real, but, like, you know, he is your uncle or she's your auntie, like, so you have to... No, you don't. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, okay? But that's a thing where I'm like, I know that there are still people... I used to, for a while, still be like, yeah, but she's this. I mean, I had, like, a parental thing with someone else a while ago, and I was the one that took that stance of, yeah, but that is your mother or your father or whatever. And then immediately afterwards was like, oh, I see why people don't have that opinion anymore. And, like, I changed my tune on the whole thing because I was like, that's not cool, actually, no matter who. But I was raised on the view of, you know, family is a forever thing. And only as I've grown up have I gone, actually, you can throw it away. Like,
having a blood relation to
Old
a person, that's not all that you need to make a relationship work.
Yeah. So him going to his dad is really like a kick in the teeth of the progression of him as well. He finally stood up for himself. Don't stop. No, at least make him carry his briefcase. Why are you taking his briefcase? Stop that, Tommy.
The reason why I am so against it is that this man does absolutely nothing that would imply that he's changed.
Oh no, he hasn't at all.
Because the thing is, I understand, you know, the whole, again, it's a family thing. And if it's like, oh, you are my family, you know, because obviously, like, I think, like, friendships and relationships are, you know, you want to hold on to them, but, like, family always has that you know, I can cut a friend out of my life, but I can't cut out someone who I am blood related to because of the connotation of, like...
You can.
No, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, they'll never completely disappear because they'll always be tied to you in that way.
Yeah.
So I understand how you would be more receptive to a family member changing than, say, like, a friend or an ex or something like that. But he doesn't do anything to me that implies that he is not going to be a dick anymore.
No, I mean, even at the end, he's like, I did it for Rose. I did it for... And Tommy's like, you did it for you. Like, this is your reputation thing. Very heavy note, this. It's a very, very heavy...
I know, this is like a horrible way to end.
Talk about dicks. This episode, by the way, it just ends. Like, out of nowhere, they're just sort of like... And then... And I'm like, oh, okay. We're over. And then we get a next time trailer. So if we... For our ranking, as we know is at the bottom, does this create a new low for you in terms of long game? Is this beneath the long game for you?
Yep.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And
I mean, I guess you've got Simon Pegg in the long game to boost that up, and there's a few, you know, there's good performance by Eccleston and stuff too.
I think the thing with the long game...
Adam, though.
Yeah. I think that my thing with the long game is that, like, I enjoy the concept of it. I enjoy the idea of, you know, this, like, super future, like, space TV station thing that's, like, freaky and you know, like, I get more into that.
See, I love that, but I think that the finale does it better.
This. See, no, the finale does it so much better, but that's another thing about the long game that goes in its favour, is that it sort of sets that up, whereas this episode, like,
isn't setting anything up at all.
It's not.
Just there.
It's just there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, it feels like there's very low stakes in this to me, and I don't really care about most of the characters.
That's fair.
And I don't understand The Wire. I don't understand the reason.
Yeah. No, I mean it's all solid points. I
And,
still
well,
just
that's
think I'm like, this is
another thing
entertaining
as
to
well
me.
is like the long game. I can pull stuff out and be like, that's funny and silly. But with this episode, I feel like I can't. I feel like there's nothing in this episode that makes enough of an impression, apart from some funny line delivery.
Yeah, from our main too.
Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
anything that I can be like, oh, I like it for this.
I mean, the whole long game thing for me is I think that if you remove that from the season is still fine, which is the worst thing you can have.
But that's how I feel about this.
Oh no,
So-
I mean, well, no, I should rephrase that. I think that it matters more for the long game because it's trying to set something up that it doesn't need to, whereas this isn't. This one knows it is a standalone.
Yeah.
It's almost like do you know how Utopia sets up the Sound of the Drums and Last of the Time Lords?
Yes.
But I think Utopia does it really well.
Yeah.
Like.
So I just nodded. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, this is an audio thing. You can't be doing that. This isn't setting anything up, so I don't think it has to be treat itself too seriously. Whereas the long game, I'm like, you have to set something up, but you don't need to. By the end, I'm like, this wouldn't have suffered. Either way, I assume you give it like a 1.
Yeah, I think this is my first one
Okay.
of the whole podcast. And I think that it would have been able to salvage that if it had leaned into being sillier.
Mine's just like a 3.5. I'm like, this is fun.
That's absurd to me.
This is well.
That's wild.
Here's. Do you know what's weird? Is I know that this is technically out of 10 because you get your 0.5s.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I do feel like 3.5 is higher than I would give it, because if it was a 10, I would probably give it a 6 or 7, which is probably around on par anyway. But because it's out of 5 and it's closer to the threshold, it seems like I'm giving it more than it's due.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if 5 is average, this is just above that for me. Where I'm like, yeah, okay.
I have a little...
Or maybe it is completely average, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm just like, this should be 2.5. In fact, I will go to 2. But 2.5 seems mean and low, which is, I don't like the 5 system, okay? I don't like it. I never have, but I never...
like the way that I view these ratings, and I'll say this again in the
Is your enjoyment of
when
them?
I come to it, is
Oh.
I would say, so 3 is an episode that is fine and that I enjoy and that I think it's good, I think it's bad, I think it's middle of the road,
But that would be a 2.5.
for a 3. Oh, but here you go. A 2 or a 4, like either way, is an episode, like a 4 is an episode that I actively like seek out, and a 5 is like stellar, top, favourite, elite.
You're deranged.
All right.
I'm kidding.
You know what?
But
I was gonna say I know what I mean in my own head.
I know what you...
I
get
will
what you mean.
come to
Yeah.
it with that.
Yeah. Whereas
we
I'm
do
like,
that.
for me, I'm like, okay, if it's middle of the road, it has to be 2.5.
Yeah.
But that feels mean and low. And so I try and give something where I'm like, this is more enjoyable, a bit of the due. But no, I this one, now that I'm thinking about what's coming up and some of the in-betweeny stuff, yeah, maybe it is a more towards the 3 or 2.5 of it all. Do you have any trivia that we haven't covered? Because I know that some of it, because I watched The Confidential, I might have spoiled some of the reveals for you there. My
Okay,
bad.
so working titles for this episode
Oh,
were
God.
Mr. Sandman,
Bring me a dream. Down, 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 down.
Sonic Doom,
What?
and the One-Eyed Monster.
No.
And I'm like, why was this ever,
I wonder if it was going to turn them into cyclopses. Them hungry, and it just takes an eye.
And then they all start going, Gene!
Because an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
Yeah.
Are they all based on, like... Because, I mean, even Mr. Magpie has the whole rhyme behind it. Like, 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a bitch.
I don't know.
Oh, and I realised that bitch is, like, actually a gendered term, isn't it? I shouldn't have said that. 3 for a magnificent lady. 4 for a bitch. There we go. We've made boys bitches now. We're changing stereotypes. We're breaking boundaries.
Apparently Nicholas Hoult, when this episode was written for 9 and stuff, and I'm like, Nicholas Hoult.
He wouldn't have. No, not at all. Are you a big Nicholas Hoult fan? Oh, X-Men. He's in X-Men, right?
I hate Nicholas Hoult as Beast. I'll tell you what though, he is my like little Nicholas Hoult thing. I remember when I was watching Skins at one
I haven't
point.
seen Skins.
It was the first time I was watching Skins, and I was watching it with my friend who had already seen Skins, and I hated Tony because I know that's the point, that you are supposed to hate Tony, and I hated him. And in like episode 1 or 2, I was like, God, I hope this guy gets hit by a bus. And then, you know, spoilers for Skins.
Does he get hit by a bus?
He gets hit by a bus in the last episode of season 1, I think. And I was like, all right.
I think
cool.
I was told to watch Skins at one point, and it was like, yeah, it's very like rural, street level sort of, you know, kids in school or drama or whatever. Like, and I was like, but I lived that, and they were like, yeah, that's why it's so relatable. And I was like, no, but I don't want to see that on TV. If that's my life, Skins. I don't want to see it on TV.
I love Skins, and I watched it when I was way too young to watch Skins.
Yeah. I have the same thing with Misfits, where people always tell me to watch it, and I'm like, I've seen some of it, and the thing about the UK is I don't love it.
Yeah.
And so when I see it on TV, in the Doctor Who sense, when I see it on TV in the Doctor Who sense, I'm like, this is fine. But when I see like the actual street level stuff that I see day to day, I'm like, this doesn't help me. I don't like this. That's why I don't go outside.
Yeah, my mum has the same thing with, you know, those like BBC dramas, like like Broadchurch and those like detective-y things. My mum's like, it's depressing.
I can watch those because they have like weird polish to them that doesn't feel too British.
Yeah, my mum's like, I don't like watching British stuff because I live here, and I don't like that kind of stuff because it's depressing, which is her same thing about how if a film details a thing that she is aware of, she won't watch it. And I remember I'd seen I, Tonya, and I was like telling my mum that I'd seen it, and I was like, yeah, it's a good movie, you know, like I enjoyed it. And she went, I'm not going to watch it. And I was like, why? And she was like, because I lived it. And I was like, no, you didn't. You were alive at the time that it happened. You did not.
You weren't part of this.
You didn't bash anyone's knee, ma'am.
Did she bash a knee?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know the events.
Also, Margaret John, who was the Gran.
Yes.
Previously appeared in 1968's Fury from the Deep, which makes her the longest gap between appearances, like obviously not the same character, but like guest appearance on this show. It's the longest gap from 68 to like 2006.
Will that have been like a second or third Doctor story?
Fury from the Deep is a second Doctor story.
Damn. My God.
It's one of, I'm pretty sure it has been animated. I think it's one of those ones.
Imagine if she came back for the animation, or did they just? I assume they just used the
audio.
audio.
Who is she in Game of Thrones? Old Nan. Oh yeah.
Old Nan.
Okay.
She's just Old Nan. You want to get up on your high horse about her being an old man? I almost said old man. Doctor Who, Grandma Connolly. You have been around the block and back. Where? Not 60...
Go open up the Doctor Who thing, because surely it'll be in there, right? Or
that'll take so long, though. Classic Who is a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. 65, 66, 67...
Won't it go from 63?
There we go.
Isn't it when it starts?
It is. You know, but the episode aired in 68,
okay,
so it won't. Doctor Who, the episodes Fury from the Deep, episodes 4, 5 and 6.
Yes.
Who were you? Patrick Troughton was the Doctor.
Yeah, it's a Jamie and Vicky story.
Megan Jones. I don't know who that is, because I've never seen it in my life.
Jamie. That's Jamie McCrimmon. You know, in that, in Tooth and Claw, when the Doctor's like, oh, I'm Dr. James McCrimmon.
Oh, he's wearing a beanie. Oh, he's just like me for real. I'm wearing a beanie right now. I'm a Patrick Troughton.
That's my face when you talk.
The really fucked off one, or the really one?
The really, yeah!
Oh.
Also, yeah, no, that's it actually, because the other stuff is just subplots that were cut, like the it being set in the Powell estate originally, or what would become the Powell estate anyway.
That would have been cool if we do a back in time.
Apparently,
it
would have been cool, awesome. But they had already established the location of the Powell estate, and it didn't make sense, like geographically.
Oh, for the tower,
to do
they
it,
wanted to do the tower. I know.
And then. Also, apparently there was a plot that was cut where Rose goes to visit her aunt who works for the BBC. And I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah, suck your own dick, BBC, right? Suck your own dick, you flexible,
I'm pretty sure,
BBC.
Like, you know, I read this earlier, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like RTD cut it because he was like, that's confusing and dumb and too corporate.
Probably. I mean, there was a bit anyway where they were like, we don't know if we can do the tower finale because it was just such a big, grandiose sort of visual effect heavy thing. But yeah, I think that's the episode, right?
Yes.
I think that's everything. Where DW Rewind everywhere. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Maybe you are like Katie and you hate it because you're filled with hate because you're Katie. More like Haiti. That's a country. Never mind.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'll tell you after we cut, but I just had a thought there and I was like, I'm not saying that on the internet.
Okay, cool.
Not because it's bad, just because it's personal.
What if I tell you that I've stopped recording right now?
Have you actually? I don't believe you.
Oh, well, why would you think me a liar? Goodbye.
Bye.